Good morning. So I thought since today is kind of a crummy day outside, it's kind of cold and raining and all that happy stuff, so I was like, well, I never actually showed you guys through my seedlings. I did a little bit of jimmy rigging because is guilty of planting too many things and having to up pot them, which I did not plan for. So I kind of had to make do with what I had and build some little things out of just some scrap wood and some stuff that we had laying around the house. So this is not an ideal situation for seedlings, but a lot of this stuff is going to go out in my garden within a week, hopefully 7 days around there, probably 6 days. But so I'm just going to show you some of the varieties that I have growing right now and just some of the stuff that I'm doing with what I had. So if you start seeds, don't feel bad if you have to kind of make do until they go out. Plants usually are okay, and as long as they're not, you know, stressing for a long period of time, they'll be okay. So I'm just gonna take you through and show you guys some of the stuff that I grew and some of the stuff that I've learned, some of the stuff that I dealt with the first time growing seeds like this. Let's jump right in. Okay, so this originally is what I started with, this little greenhouse thing right here. If I can get it to focus on my stuff. One thing I would do differently is have 2 of these lights on each layer. I just feel like some of the plants didn't do very well with just one light. It kind of made them get a little leggy, which is like, here, I'll show you, like something like this right here. I don't know if you can see, it's not growing up straight, and this stuff is obviously crowded in too. But down here I have rosemary, these little ones. I think I have 8 cells of rosemary. This one didn't come up, but I do have like 3 in some of these. These are really little yet. I don't know, does rosemary just take a while? One thing I did deal with, you can see this like orange stuff around the cells. I used hard water that wasn't filtered from iron, and I wouldn't do that again because it created this, but I was waiting for our water guy to come out and put the line in so I could use the water that went through the iron filter that came out of the well. That's something that I learned also. One thing also that was new to me is I didn't realize that I did not have fertilizer in my potting soil. And I just kind of made the assumption, it was my fault, I kind of made the assumption that fertilizer was in potting soil, but this was like a seed starting soil, so it didn't have any of that in it. Some of my plants started getting like purpling leaves, kind of yellowing, so I did some research and I was like, oh, well, I didn't do that. So I had to get some water soluble fertilizer to add to their regimen once a week. I gave them that when I watered everything. So one thing I would recommend is making sure that you read the label of the seed starting mix or the potting soil that you are using. Make sure it says it has fertilizer in it and how long it will fertilize your plant. If it does not, you need to add fertilizer to the soil when you mix it together before you pot your seeds. That's one thing I learned, trial and error, you know, learning as we go. Some of this other stuff that I have is, so back here, these are echinacea. So those turned out pretty good. They're ready to go outside. Yesterday was the first day that I'm hardening off everything. After I'm done going through everything, I'm gonna actually put it outside. And then this is all celery. I think it looks really, really good. Everything's super strong, you know, when I put my hands through like that. And then back here, this is bee balm, which is just like a flower to go into the flower beds. And then this celery here though, it's a lot taller, but it's leggy, if you can tell. I don't know, I'm just kind of curious what the difference is on some of this stuff. And then I have peppers back here. These are California Wonder, so these are like different colored peppers, yellow, red, orange. And then these are just the classic like green bell peppers. For some reason, I didn't get seeds for like banana peppers and hot peppers, so I'm just gonna pick up some plants from a local nursery to do that. This is more bee balm, which it's ready to go outside. You should see some of these roots. It's insane. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know. I don't have more than one hand to do this, but you can kind of see all those spider web and looking things are their roots. So they are ready to go outside. And then up here, I have, let me actually get this tray out. It'll be easier to show you guys what I have. This one probably is one of my favorite trays because it smells amazing. All right, let's see. So this is Lavender Hyssop, which is for teas and just kind of stuff like that. There's a tea blend that I really love that has this in it. So I'm gonna try and make my own. But right here, oh, I'm so sorry, this camera is so annoying. Like, see the purpling on this leaf? So that was a deficiency of phosphorus, is what I found out. That is why I had to add fertilizer to this stuff. This seed right here is Linaria, which is a flower as well. And then I have some marjoram. It's kind of in here. It's the one with like more of the broad leaves next to the Linaria. And then I have basil plants in here, this green one right here, and then there's another one in the middle, and a tiny one right there, down in there, if you can see it. And then this purple variety, and then this one is so strong. It's called Pesto Besto, and I literally, like, if you touch it, your hands smell like that. And then I have some cauliflower starts in here too. And then this is rhubarb to actually go out and be a perennial. And then I'm gonna have to grab this other one. It's probably full of water yet. So I watered them yesterday when they came back in. Balance. All right, this one has thyme, which it's getting so leggy. Like, I don't know if you can see that or not, but and then I have chives right here, which kind of look like onions. This is called a Mexican sunflower. The leaves are so soft and fuzzy. It's like the best thing ever. I'm gonna touch them like every day. These are Brussels sprouts, this like minty looking color here, and you can tell too, like some of these had purpling leaves going on. So now it makes me feel better because their other leaves are a lot more green, like the minty color they should be. So that's good. And then I have a row of broccoli in here, right there. That one is broccoli. And then I have cabbage on the end here. The varieties, I don't know off the top of my head, but I can link all of the varieties that I did use in the description below. If you're interested in what I am growing, I will link all of that stuff below, or you can comment if you have a question and I will try and answer them as best as I can. This right here was a Jimmy Rig situation. So my tomato plants, I had to up pot into the bigger pots out of the cells, and I did not have the proper trays and stuff to do that because obviously, see, there's a gap, like I can't fit another one in there. So they were getting too big for their cells. Obviously you can see they're like really tall, like this one's over 12 inches tall. I was like, I need to repot these. We had a baby swing thing down here, and I was like, well, if I hang the light on there, maybe it'll do until I get them outside. So far they look pretty good. I'm just hoping they survive until I can plant them outside, because like with tomatoes, like I'm gonna plant like this one right here. I'll plant down to like here. With tomato plants, you can actually plant a bunch of this stem into the ground because they create roots out of there. These long plants I'm not too concerned about because I can just plant them deep. This little tray out here is kind of looking sad too because it needs to go outside. That is all asparagus. And then over here, all of these. So this is another little thing that I had to make, this little wood contraption and a shop light, because I was like, I'm not gonna order more grow lights right now because I am not gonna need them in, you know, the amount of time that this stuff is gonna go outside. These are all tomato plants in those circular things. If you notice, they are sitting on storage container lids because I do not have trays to fit that to bottom water them. So I made do with what I had. This is asparagus as well, which is gonna be a perennial. It needs to go outside in its own bed and then you just kind of let it go. And then sometimes you get lucky on the 3rd year, you're supposed to be able to harvest them. Sometimes people have taken some off the 2nd year. So I'm really excited to see how those do. They look really good. They're really green and everything, but they're just like super long. And then, oh, I didn't go through the varieties of tomatoes that I have. So I have Beefsteak, which is like a slicer tomato, Roma tomatoes, sauce tomato. What is this? Another Beefsteak. I think those are all Roma and Beefsteak. And then over there, I have the Garden Gem, which is a cherry tomato. And then I have Red Pride, which is also a sauce tomato, Garden Treasure. I also have, which is a slicer tomato. Over here, I have Sun Gold, which is a cherry tomato variety. Cherry Falls, which I'm actually gonna plant those in some hanging baskets because they said that it looks really pretty when you can let them droop over. So I'm gonna try that. Ace 55, which is also like a sauce tomato. And then I think that's all that I have for this year. That's kind of what I'm dealing with right now. Just trying to make do until everything goes outside. My goal for next year is to have a big shelf that I can set up to have all of the lights and everything on those shelves. And it would be easier because the size of this, which I'm gonna use this greenhouse again because I have it, so that would be wasteful if I don't use it. I'm gonna get more lights. If I get the big shelf, then the lights are gonna have to be longer, but there are sets that you can buy on Amazon that all link together and you can get them in like 4-foot sections. I'm gonna probably do that. And then some of the other stuff that I used was, I bought one of these power strips. The one side you can set for programs to go on and off. I set my seeds to have light 16 hours a day and be off the other amount of time. And then there's some, like the heating pads, I plugged in this side because I wanted those to always be on for the seeds that do better with heat, the soil being warmer so that the seeds germinate better. What else did I use? So you can see like these lights in here, they all link together. So like this cord goes down and plugs into the next light, and then that one goes down and has like the actual power switches, which it's kind of nice because this power switch has 2 switches, so you can switch off one, which I never did. But if you'd have maybe like 2 light strips on each shelf and you only have 1 tray left, then maybe you would switch them off. But and then that is the same light, but it has a different fixture. So these are just zip tied to the bottom of those shelves. They came with a lot of accessories, so that was really cool. I don't know, just learned a lot. But I actually just got these in from, it's called Bootstrap Farmer, and thank you Roots and Refuge for suggesting these because they're really nice sized little pots. I'm actually gonna up pot my peppers into these, and they fit like really nicely into this bottom water tray, which is really nice. I got 10 trays of that and a bunch of these little reusable seed cells. Like if you can tell, I mean it's not that much bigger than what I have right now, but it's still, you can separate them out. That's my problem. I have 2 pepper plants in each cell and they need to be separated out. So got that. This is what my heating pads look like. Excuse my mess down here because this was just a very much learning year for me and everything just kind of went everywhere. This is just from Amazon. Super cheap, did what it needed to. And then I just have all my accessories for the lights in that box. And then I also have an oscillating fan down here to turn on when, but like before I started hardening off the plants, every day I would turn the fan on to go a certain amount of time so that they have like wind blowing on them. But yeah, so I'm ready to get stuff out in the garden because I'm like, this is crazy. But I'm gonna wait to separate my peppers until my tomatoes go out. And then I'm not gonna put my pepper plants out until the low temperature stays consistently above like 50 degrees at night. From what I was watching from the people that I watch and the research that I did, it just said they do better when the temperature consistently stays above that because they like to be really, really hot. Yeah, I have a bunch of seeds. They're not all gonna fit in my garden. Some of them are gonna go to family and friends, and I don't know what I'm gonna do with the rest of them. Some people told me just to sell the other ones that I have, or I might just give them away because, I don't know, it was just fun for me. So we'll see. I'm just excited that I actually grew things from seed, so that feels really satisfying, and I've learned a lot. So yeah, I'm just excited to see how this next part goes, how they do in the garden, and then to see like what all I get to harvest come this, you know, summer and into fall. I'm gonna go ahead and take all of these seed trays outside, let them sit outside. Every day you do an hour more. So yesterday was like an ideal day. It was like 60 degrees and it was overcast, so I actually left them out for 2 hours. So today it's a little bit colder and the sun isn't out, so I'm gonna only do probably like 2 hours again, and then tomorrow I'll do 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, and then by the last day I will leave them out overnight. But once they have the overnight and they're used to that, then I will plant them out. And ideally, I would want to plant them out on a day that's overcast or on a day that's not quite like super warm during the day, but we'll see, just have to kind of check the weather. But the goal is to plant them within 6 days, is for sure my tomatoes and some of my other stuff that I don't have to separate out, that I can just put out into the landscape and into the garden and into pots, what needs to go in pots. That's what I'm growing right now. Everything else was just like direct sown from seed out in the garden. And if you guys have any questions about anything, let me know. I will share what I've learned, but that was pretty much the gist of it for this year. Still kind of proud of myself for making do with what I had. I just thought it was really funny that I had a baby swing little thing down here. They all look pretty. Well, thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm gonna get these seeds out and I will see you in the next one. See you guys.